The scientists were horrified to discover that the previously lively shark had suddenly chosen to commit suicide. Upon closer inspection, she found some seaweed stuck to the fish's gills. She was about to place the seaweed under a microscope for examination when she turned around and saw that the entire fish tank had been overtaken by seaweed, and all the sharks inside were dead. Initially, no one paid much attention until an old man opened the door and found the laboratory filled with the seaweed. Out of curiosity, he touched it with his hand, and the seaweed sprayed sticky mucus on his face. When his companions found him, he was already infected with an unknown virus, and eventually, his body was slowly devoured by the mutated seaweed. It turned out that they were inside a deep-sea submarine. But how did the deadly seaweed end up in the cabin, and why did it undergo genetic mutation? The story begins a few hours earlier. The man in front of us is an excellent submarine designer. He was summoned to the office by his superior because the Sirene 1 submarine he designed went missing during a mission. After preliminary investigation, it was determined that the submarine's design had flaws. So, the superior hoped Wick would join the rescue team and go to Norway with them to search for the Sirene 1. Although Wick was very confident in his design, the fact that the submarine had gone missing was undeniable. To figure out the exact cause of the accident, Wick agreed to go along. The Sirene 2 submarine, which was assigned for this rescue mission, was also designed by Wick. However, when he entered the submarine, his fellow team members looked at him with unfriendly eyes. It was clear that they had already heard about the incident with Sirene 1 and believed that Wick's design was to blame. Until the matter was clarified, Wick could only endure in silence. The rescue team soon prepared to set off, and the captain for this mission also boarded the submarine. To Wick's surprise, his ex-wife was also among them. Nina, a biologist, would be joining the rescue team. At the captain's command, the submarine immediately set off for the deep sea. When the submarine reached a depth of 7,000 meters, it collided with an iceberg due to a sonar error. This collision didn't damage the submarine, but such an accident could have been avoided. Why did the sonar system malfunction? Naturally, everyone pointed fingers at Wick, the submarine designer. However, after careful examination, Wick found that his design had been heavily altered. The red parts are all the places that were changed. No wonder it was such a cheap mistake. But when Wick raised the issue, the captain called him into his office. He believed Wick was making excuses to evade responsibility, and immediately removed him from the control room, sending him to the engine room to cool off, and gave all responsibilities to the communication officer, Robbins. Shortly after, the submarine received a signal. Robbins' computer analysis determined that it was the signal from the black box of the Sirene 1, located in the fault line directly beneath the submarine. The captain was delighted upon hearing this, as they could finally uncover the truth behind the disappearance of Sirene 1. So the order to dive was then given. At a depth of 8,500 meters, they found that the area was covered with massive seaweed. At such a depth, photosynthesis isn't possible, so the presence of plants, especially of this size, was unexpected. To understand the reason, Nina wanted a sample of the seaweed for research. The sonar also detected a metal object nearby, which could be wreckage from Sirene 1. A diver immediately plunged into the deep sea to simultaneously collect a seaweed sample and investigate the metal wreckage. To his surprise, the water here was warm. He quickly cut off a section of seaweed. After successfully sending up the sample, the diver began looking for the metal wreckage. As they guessed, the metal wreckage was indeed from Sirene 1. As he was taking pictures with his camera, he was attacked by a mysterious creature hiding in the seaweed. Unsure of the situation, the captain didn't dare to rashly send people down for rescue. As a large amount of blood spewed out, the diver went completely silent. The submarine also detected that his vital signs were disappearing. They thought it was just a malfunction of the diving equipment and didn't realize that the area concealed great danger. On the captain's command, the submarine continued toward the black box's signal. Soon, a new crisis emerged. The sonar suddenly showed an unknown creature approaching the submarine. Observed through the infrared sensor, the creature was even larger than the submarine. The captain immediately ordered evasive action, but the opponent was too fast, and in an instant, it firmly grabbed the submarine. Chaos erupted in the cabin, and the pressure rapidly doubled. They tried to shake off the unknown creature, but it was useless. Even worse, the giant creature was slowly dragging the submarine toward a deeper fault. Through the external camera, they saw the face of the monster. In the critical moment, Wick came up with an idea. They could try reversing the polarity of the radar shield to deliver an electric shock to the monster. However, this could cause the cooling system to overload and explode. With no time to hesitate, Robbins immediately initiated the code. Unexpectedly, this method was very effective, and the high-voltage shock immediately made the monster release the submarine. As they tried to regain control of the submarine, they found that the propulsion system was damaged due to the monster's attack. The submarine was still uncontrollably sinking, now reaching a depth of 12,000 kilometers, risking implosion. At a critical moment, Wick noticed a protruding rock below. With a slight shift in direction, he could anchor the submarine on it. After saying this, Wick personally maneuvered the submarine. Through his efforts, they successfully anchored the submarine on the rock. Wick's excellent performance in twice averting danger changed everyone's opinion of him. The captain also stopped giving Wick a hard time and reinstated him in the control room. However, due to severe damage to the submarine, they had to temporarily halt the mission for repairs. At this time, Mina in the lab was horrified to find that the seaweed sample they retrieved was still growing. In just a few hours, it had filled the fish tank, and the previously active sharks had mysteriously died. Mina analyzed the seaweed tissue and discovered that the seaweed seemed to have mutated. When it inhaled oxygen, it released toxic gas, which killed the fish. Soon, through the efforts of the crew, the submarine was operational again, and the captain ordered the pursuit of the black box signal. What lay before them was a deep-sea cave. Knowing it was even more dangerous inside, they had no way back. It just didn't occur to anyone that the deepest part of the cave was an undersea cavern. So how on earth did the black box get here? As they were puzzling over this, Robbins found that the signal source wasn't the black box but a distress signal. This signal was almost identical to the black box, located within the cavern ahead. Wick also noticed human footprints in the cave, indicating that Siren 1 had been here. To uncover the truth, a few crew members suited up and rowed toward the distress signal. Upon landing, the group began walking into the cavern and soon came to a fork in the road. To improve the search efficiency, the team split up into groups of 3 and continued deeper into the cave. Wick's group had just walked a few steps when they found some clothes and shoes on the ground, looking like a riot had occurred. Next, they discovered some plastic barrels containing chemical substances. Meanwhile, the other group of 3 sensed something unusual, and the crew member at the back heard strange noises. As they continued to move forward, they were unaware that an unknown creature's head was peeking out from the cave. Before long, the crew member heard the same sound again. The sound came from a small hole in the cave wall, and he curiously looked inside. Just as he was about to alert his teammates, a creature inside suddenly attacked him face first. Hearing his scream, his teammates rushed back to bring the injured crew member back to the submarine, only to find the walls covered with these creatures. The female crew member provided cover fire, continuously attacking the creatures, but the injured crew member's condition was critical. His body started convulsing as if he was infected. To prevent him from mutating, the female crew member had no choice but to eliminate him. The remaining 2 continued to flee towards the exit, but were again attacked by other creatures. The female crew member reacted swiftly, shooting and killing a snake-like creature. However, the other crew member was less fortunate, as he was bitten on the thigh by a piranha-like creature and died instantly. Hearing the distress calls, Wick's group arrived just in time, only to find the bodies of their 2 teammates, while the female crew member was missing. Following the captain's instructions, the 3 found the signal source, which came from a computer, but the sender had become a skeleton. Wick turned off the distress signal and found 2 tapes, which might contain important information. The trio took the tapes back, unaware of the horror unfolding on the submarine. Due to a malfunction in the air heat exchanger, the technician went to the engine room for repairs on the captain's orders, only to find the room covered in seaweed. The malfunction was caused by the seaweed, but the technician was unaware of its danger and grabbed it with his hand. The seaweed, as if alive, sprayed mucus at him. By the time the captain and Mina discovered him, the technician had been devoured by the mutated seaweed. Mina found out that the seaweed had contaminated the water supply, and they needed to shut down all the pipes to prevent further spread. At this moment, the cook complained of stomach discomfort. Through questioning, they learned he had drunk the water from the pipes. The captain knew the cook was doomed, so he isolated him in his cabin. Soon, Wick's group rowed back in a dinghy, but as they climbed onto the submarine, one crew member fell into the water. A monster lurking underwater had been waiting and dragged the crew member down. leaving only Kane and Wick to return to the submarine. They quickly checked the tape's contents and saw a military scientist in the video, suggesting they were conducting a secret biological experiment here, which went wrong. Although most of the video was damaged, the scientist mentioned a DNA accelerator. Nina explained that it's a machine that can accelerate biological evolution and even recombine DNA from different species. Such things were theoretical, but the cave situation had become a reality. Their research had even affected the surrounding sea, causing marine creatures to mutate. Sirene 1 was attacked by these mutated creatures. With the truth revealed, the captain decided to enter the cave again to destroy the DNA accelerator to prevent more mutant creatures from emerging and spreading to the surface. This time, the captain led the team, leaving Robbins alone on the submarine to guide them. Soon, the group reached a large cavern with a strange machine and large eggs on the ground, each containing ugly humanoid creatures. However, they didn't realize the mother of these creatures was above them. Suddenly, the machine beside them made a noise, and they hurried over to check, horrified to find the missing female crew member trapped inside. The machine was the DNA accelerator. At this moment, a giant mutated starfish awakened above them. Kane, caught off guard, was grabbed by its tentacles. The others fired, but it seemed ineffective. As they retreated, they found stacked fuel and decisively blew it up. The explosion destroyed the creature and the DNA accelerator. Seeing the cave collapsing, the remaining three fled toward the exit. However, as they rowed towards the submarine, they saw Robbins closing the hatch, preparing to abandon them. The trio realized Robbins had ulterior motives, but he didn't know the hatch could be opened from outside. As the submarine prepared to submerge, Wick and the captain opened the hatch. They rushed to the control room, but Robbins, hiding, immediately took Nina hostage. The captain and Wick didn't dare do anything rash. Seeing the situation under control once again, Robbins also spills the beans on his true mission, which turns out to be an undercover agent planted by the military in the rescue team. His goal was to destroy the DNA accelerator and eliminate anyone who knew about the secret biological experiments. He then forced the trio into the contaminated engine room, leaving them to perish. Robbins prepared to leave in the submarine, forgetting Wick was its designer. Wick removed a chip, rendering the submarine useless. Robbins noticed the submarine had stopped when Wick appeared on the screen with the chip, threatening that the submarine was useless without it and would sink unless the door was opened. Robbins had no choice but to comply, only to be ambushed by the captain. With Wick's help, the captain pushed Robbins into the room with the infected cook, where they had a close encounter. As Wick pulled the captain out, Robbins screamed in agony. Wick then replaced the chip and restarted the submarine. The captain activated the self-destruct sequence, intending to blow up the cave and seal it off, preventing the creatures from escaping. With 2 minutes left, they headed to the escape pod. Wick and Nina entered the pod, but the captain closed the door, intending to stay behind. During the fight with Robbins, he had been infected by the seaweed. With sorrowful gazes, the captain turned and left, ready to meet his end. Meanwhile, Wick and Nina successfully entered the escape pod. As water filled the pod, they launched it and safely detached from the submarine. Moments later, the self-destruct countdown ended, and the captain and the submarine were buried in the cave. After the ordeal, Wick and Nina rekindled their romance. They would return to the surface and reveal everything that happened here to the world.